through this door lies another dimension. One of beeps, one of boops. A reality where 8-bit and HD clash. This is the point where new retro meet. The 6.5 dimension, protected by the arcade overlord. You have crossed into the turbo zone.
Hey everybody, so you may or may not know that I have been a huge Classic Game Room fan for a very long time. Classic Game Room is what inspired me to do YouTube reviews. It's one of my favorite YouTube shows of all time. It's something that I've always loved. Ever since I discovered YouTube and discovered video game content on YouTube, Classic Game Room has always been one of those channels that I've gone back to. And I'm not really here to discuss where the channel has gone, what's happened with the channel as much. If you're interested in that, I've done a video on here before, whenever they were leaving YouTube before, and I've done videos with my good friend Teddy over on Majority, where we've talked about the state of Classic Game Room throughout the years. And that's not really what I want to talk about today. But what I do want to talk about is the new Classic Game Room show on Amazon Prime. So if you didn't know, Classic Game Room, Mark from Classic Game Room has taken Classic Game Room off of YouTube, essentially. I don't think he's posted much recently. And he's focused all of his time and attention onto this new show called Classic Game Room 2085, which is on Amazon Prime. Now, I will say my issue with his previous content on YouTube was that he was talking about the fact that the monetization on YouTube isn't up to snuff. He's been doing a lot of Patreon, doing a lot of other stuff outside of Patreon, like just promoting his merchandise, and it started to bog down his content a lot. This was an issue that I had for a pretty long time, where it just felt like it was bogging down a lot of his content, and I wasn't enjoying his content as much. So when I heard he was moving to Amazon Prime with this new show, I'll admit I was a little worried, but I decided to give it a chance. Plus, Amazon Prime gives you a lot more than just Classic Game Room. It gives you a whole streaming service. It gives you music service. It gives you free 2-day shipping on any Prime-approved products. It's a pretty nice little package. So I decided to give it a go, and I decided to watch Classic Game Room 2085. And I'll have to say, I'm pretty impressed. Mark has essentially taken what was 7-8 minute videos and turn it into like a 45-minute show, like a high production TV type show, and it's pretty cool. He's only put out, I think they've done 4 episodes so far, so I can't comment too much, but I am going to discuss the first episode to kind of give you an idea of what the format is like. So, Classic Game Room 2085, the first episode opens with a little intro, and it opens with Mark and Edit Station 1 having some quirky banter back and forth. Mark gives you a layout of what's coming this episode, and then it gets started. Episode 1 has a review of Castlevania Bloodlines on the Sega Genesis. It has a Sega Genesis type, I wouldn't say a collecting guide, but kind of just like why Mark likes the Genesis type thing. It has a few little funny sketch pieces here and there. And then it has a Q&A section and a behind the scenes and outtakes. From what I could tell, every episode has a Q&A and a behind the scenes and outtakes at the end. But what's different than his normal videos is that the reviews usually come first, and they're really a high production. You could tell that he's pouring a lot of sweat and tears and blood into this project. And then whatever comes after the review is usually something a little different. Like the second episode, I know he did a review of some Switch game. I forgot the name. It was Fast Racing MX or something. I don't know. And then he did a Switch versus Vectrex type thing. So the second segment of the show, you never really know what you're going to get, which is nice, because if it was two game reviews back to back, it might feel a little stale for a 45-minute program. But just going off the first episode alone, because I don't want to talk too much about the other episodes, because I kind of want to let you experience it yourself. The first episode alone introduces the show, and Mark explains that there's other clone Marks. There's Genesis fanboy Mark, Atari fanboy Mark, Vectrex Mark, and so on and so on. The review of Bloodlines feels really close to his older reviews, where they're just kind of just focused on the game, or they're just fun reviews, which is why I love Classic Game Room to begin with. The second segment with the Genesis games and stuff is pretty cool. I mean, I'm already a huge Genesis fan, so I didn't really learn much. But for people that are kind of uninitiated with the Sega Genesis, it could have, it could be a really good entry point for a lot of people. The segment after that's a little short segment where Atari fanboy Mark plays the Genesis, and it's fun and quirky. And then the Q&A is pretty basic, and then the behind the scenes and outtakes just show Mark goofing around and some stuff where he's editing and making the show and stuff. Overall, though, I like the direction. It fixes a lot of the issues that I had with Mark's YouTube content over the years, where he just kind of got focused too much on Patreon and on merchandising, and it feels like Classic Game Room. The show does. The catch is that it's on Amazon Prime and not on YouTube, so you can't really watch it for free. You have to be a Prime subscriber to watch it, which is fine because you're not just paying for Classic Game Room. You're paying for the whole service. But I will say that I really like the show, and once again, coming from a long-time Classic Game Room fan, I really like 2085, but I feel like Mark needs to, I wouldn't say step it up, but maybe give us a little more. A lot of the stuff in the show feels like it could have been on YouTube. It feels like it's essentially an elongated YouTube program, which is fine. I mean, that's essentially what it is. But if it still feels like I could go on YouTube and watch a lot of the same kind of content for free from other creators. So I really hope that Classic Game Room 2085, while it is pretty good so far, I really hope that it tries something new, something different, to really stand out. I want to go to Classic Game Room 2085, and of course, I don't mind seeing the Classic Game Room reviews and Classic Game Room like content, but since I'm spending the money on the service, I really want something that feels different, that doesn't feel like an elongated YouTube show. But once again, so far it is a pretty good show. If you like Classic Game Room, if you like Mark's content, I would say from 2008 up to about 2012, 13, around that time, before a lot of the big changes came into play. If you liked a lot of that content, I think you would really like Classic Game Room 2085. It is really high production. You could tell that Mark put a lot of time into this project, and I think the show's pretty good. So that's my thoughts as a longtime Classic Game Room fan. Those are my thoughts on 2085. I wish Mark the best of luck, and if you're interested, please check it out, and I'll see you guys later. Hey everybody, Alex here in my Golden Girls t-shirt. just wanted to remind you, don't forget that we have a Let's Play channel called Those Strange Gamers that update every Wednesday and Sunday. We put out a new episode twice a week. We've been doing it for about a month now. So, hey, please go check out Those Strange Gamers, and thanks for the support.
Hey geeks and gamers, TurboBot90013 here. Remember to subscribe to the Turbo Zone for more content. The Arcade Overlord, thank you. Stay retro. Turbo Zone.